As 2025 slowly fades into the rear view, the gaming world is already gearing up for what could be one of the most explosive years we've ever seen. 2026, a year where imagination meets innovation and where the impossible starts to feel real. From heart-stopping horror to pulse-pounding action adventures, from vast open worlds to deep sandbox universes, studios across the globe are going all in. We're talking decade-long developments, sky-high budgets, and teams of visionaries pushing every limit of what gaming can be. It's not just about pixels and polygons anymore, it's about immersion, emotion, and experiences that blur the line between reality and fantasy. Newcomers are stepping up, veterans are doubling down, and everyone's aiming to leave their mark in gaming history. So, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the future. These are the most anticipated games of 2026, a lineup so stacked, it just might redefine what we call next gen. Let's get into it. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing Marvel games in years, blending cinematic storytelling with a gritty World War II backdrop, where heroes from vastly different worlds collide. Set in occupied Paris during the height of the war, the story follows Captain America and Azuri, the Black Panther of the 1940s, as they're forced into an uneasy alliance alongside Gabriel Jones of the Howling Commandos and Nanali, a Wakandan spy operating deep behind enemy lines. Together, they face off against Hydra's secret plot to tip the balance of global power. From what we've seen so far, the tone feels dark, grounded, and rich with political tension, a refreshing contrast to modern superhero stories. Captain America looks to be the powerhouse brawler, while Black Panther takes on a stealthier, more agile role, with each character offering a unique playstyle that matches their personality and background. Now, the studio behind this project, Skydance New Media, is led by none other than Amy Hennig, the creative genius behind Uncharted, which instantly raises expectations for the game's narrative depth and cinematic flair. Skydance has already proven its ambition with several big projects in the works, including a Star Wars title, and they've made it clear they want to deliver AAA experiences that feel both emotionally powerful and technically polished. Recently, the developers announced that Marvel 1943 has been delayed to early 2026, citing the need for more polish to ensure a higher quality experience that aligns with their vision. Honestly, that's a good sign. A studio taking extra time usually means they're aiming for excellence rather than rushing out a half-baked release. Between the legendary storytelling pedigree of Amy Hennig, the cinematic potential of Unreal Engine 5, and the sheer allure of seeing Captain America and the Black Panther fighting side by side in a wartime thriller, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra could easily become the next great narrative-driven superhero experience. The release date hasn't been confirmed yet, but if all goes well, we might finally see this ambitious title hit consoles sometime in early 2026. And until then, all we can do is hope that Skydance's promise of quality lives up to the hype. You know, before we talk about The Witcher 4, we gotta appreciate just how huge The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt really was. That game dropped back in 2015 and absolutely changed the RPG scene. CD Projekt Red turned Geralt's story into this massive, open-world fantasy masterpiece. And yeah, it paid off big time. Over 60 million copies sold, more than $640 million in revenue. Not bad for a decade-old game from a Polish studio that used to be considered the underdog. It became a benchmark for story-driven games, and that legacy is exactly what The Witcher 4 has to live up to. Now, fast forward to March 2022, CD Projekt Red finally confirmed what everyone was waiting for. A new Witcher game is in the works. Internally, it's called Project Polaris, and it officially kicks off a brand new Witcher saga. The studio's leveled up since the old days. They've moved over to Unreal Engine 5 instead of their in-house Red engine, teaming up with Epic Games to make development smoother and more flexible. They've already said the project is now in full production, which means things are really moving behind the scenes. Here's where it gets interesting. This time, we're not playing as Geralt. The story moves on a few years after The Witcher 3, and the new main character is Ciri, Geralt's adoptive daughter. If you played the last game, you know how powerful and complex she already is. She's got that Witcher training, but also this raw magical energy from being a source. CD Projekt Red says they want players to experience what it truly means to become a Witcher, learning, failing, adapting, and shaping your own code as you go. Ciri's younger, less experienced, and not as defined as Geralt, so the choices you make are going to shape who she becomes. That's a cool idea. It's more personal and more about the journey. In terms of world design, don't expect the map to just be bigger. The devs said the scale is roughly around the size of The Witcher 3, but the world's gonna feel deeper and more immersive. Different regions will have their own identity and roots, kind of like how Valen, Novigrad, and Skellige all had distinct vibes, but even more refined this time. They're really focusing on world building and player connection, not just endless empty space. As for release date, yeah, we're still a ways off. CD Projekt Red has said it definitely won't release before the end of 2026, so realistically, we're looking at 2027 at the earliest. But hey, if waiting means getting another timeless RPG like Wild Hunt, I think most of us are fine with that. So yeah, The Witcher 4, new saga, new protagonist, same world we love, but with a fresh perspective. If CD Projekt Red nails it, this could be the start of something really special again.
She were to go to the woods. The chosen one. His tradition.
Oh no, no, no.
It's all we wanted. For her to go to the woods. To go to the gods.
Gods? There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Alright, so let's talk about this upcoming title that's been cooking in the shadows, Project Spectrum. This one's an asymmetric multiplayer horror shooter where you and your squad head into Ember Zones to hunt down paranormal threats. Think of it like Hunt Showdown 1896, but with a supernatural twist. If you've run around those swamps in duos or trios hunting bosses for a bounty, this game might feel like its chaotic cousin. But here's where it gets crazy. Project Spectrum was originally planned to be completely free to play. Yeah, free! It's being pitched as this wild crossover between Resident Evil vibes and Dead by Daylight style tension. So if you're into horror, guns, and co-op stress with a side of screaming and voice chat, this might be your thing. Now, the studios behind it, Tiny Studio Group and Team Jade, the same developers who worked on Delta Force, are building this whole experience around multiplayer. That makes sense, because for matchmaking to work, you need bodies in the lobby. A free-to-play model lowers the entry barrier, so more players jump in, which means faster matches and a healthier player base. And that's straight from what the creators have hinted at. Do your own digging, but that's the gist of what's out there. According to game director Basil Wang, Project Spectrum has been secretly in development for 2 years. He describes it as a meticulously crafted and uniquely styled shooter at its core, where danger can hit you at any moment. Every corner of the map is a threat. And as players explore, they start uncovering some darker secrets tied to this mysterious force called the Ember. The whole world in game has already been wrecked by it, so it's not just background lore, it's part of the atmosphere. And yeah, it's being built on Unreal Engine 5, so expect visuals that slap. As for the release date, nothing is confirmed yet. The official reveal was at Gamescom 2025, and while some sources are whispering about a possible 2026 launch, there's nothing locked in. So take that with a grain of salt. But if you're into supernatural hunts, squad tactics, and that mix of suspense and gunfire, Project Spectrum is definitely worth the wait. Alright, let's talk about Resident Evil Requiem, the next big mainline entry in the franchise. Think of it as a beefed up version of Resident Evil Village. Still sticking to that immersive survival horror tone the newer games nailed. The story takes place about 30 years after the Raccoon City destruction incident and introduces a brand new lead, Grace Ashcroft, an FBI analyst. She gets assigned to a murder case at the same hotel where her mom died 8 years ago. And from there, the investigation slowly uncovers hidden truths tied straight back to the Raccoon City outbreak that shook the world. Grace is the daughter of a survivor from that incident, and even though she's not directly related to Ethan Winters, her story connects to what he left behind, mainly through her father's link to Chris Redfield, who was Ethan's ally in Resident Evil 7 and Village. Fans are already spinning theories that she might secretly be the daughter of Leon S. Kennedy and Alyssa Ashcroft, but that's just speculation for now. Capcom is calling Requiem a mainline plot entry, not a spin-off, so it's meant to carry the torch forward after Ethan's emotional conclusion. One of the coolest features? For the first time in this series, you can switch between first-person and third-person views anytime during gameplay. So whether you want that Resident Evil 7 immersion or a Village-style over-the-shoulder look, you can swap on the fly. The game's directed by Koshi Nakanushi, the director of Resident Evil 7, the title that brought the franchise back to its horror roots and earned massive praise from both longtime fans and newcomers. That alone gives me hope they know what they're doing. And the release date is locked in. Resident Evil Requiem drops on Friday, February 27th, 2026. Now it's just a matter of whether it lives up to the expectations set by Resident Evil 7 and Village. Fingers crossed Capcom doesn't drop the ball.
Hey!
before. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Please know that you are my hope.
Everyone's gone.
Stay away from that!
Let's talk about something that's sneaking up to be one of the most exciting action-adventure titles on the horizon, the Woochi the Wayfarer. The game is set during the Joseon Dynasty era of Korea, and honestly, nobody expected a studio from the Asian market to jump in this hard to compete with the big dogs. But here we are, and it's catching everyone by surprise in the best way. Before we get into Woochi, let's rewind a bit, because the momentum for this cultural wave really started with Black Myth: Wukong. Released in 2024 by Game Science, Black Myth showed the entire industry how you take your country's history, culture, and mythology and turn it into a global phenomenon. It drew inspiration from Journey to the West, and the results spoke for themselves. A historic takeover of the Steam charts and a tone setter for what Asian studios are capable of on the world stage. Now fast forward, and South Korea is stepping into the spotlight with Nexon. Most people know them for their massive mobile games, but recently they've been a level up in the PC and console scene too. Just look at the first Descendant, or the Souls-like the first Berserker Cousin, which dropped earlier this year with jaw-dropping visuals. And now, they're taking things even further with the Woochi the Wayfarer, inspired by the classic Korean novel, The Tale of Gen Woochi. This isn't just some random fantasy setup. Woochi is a legendary hero figure who brought hope to the oppressed, fought corruption, used magic to protect the weak, and stood up when times were at their hardest. The game takes place in a fictionalized version of the Joseon area filled with traditional monsters, supernatural beings, and mythic creatures. And that trailer, man, that is what ramped up the hype. We get a look at Gen Woochi himself and Myoan, who ends up transforming into this terrifying demonic form after a ritual performed by a shaman with some seriously unresolved anger. That transformation moment alone already has me locked in and impatient. I'm dying to see how the combat and boss fights play out, because if that trailer is any indication, we're in for something wild. As for the release date, nothing officially confirmed yet, but based on everything I've been able to gather, the Woochi the Wayfarer is expected to drop sometime in 2026. So yeah, we're gonna be waiting a bit, but if the build-up is anything like Wukong, it's going to be worth every second.
Our gods have forsaken.
Next up, we've got the long-awaited Souls-like sequel, Lords of the Fallen 2. And honestly, this one's already twisted my brain in the best possible way. The story picks up 100 years after the Umbral ending from the first game. Yeah, that secret canon ending you only got by finishing Damaro's and Gerlinde's quests without cleansing any beacons. Radiant was the good path. Inferno was evil, but Umbral? That was the true one. Now we're back in Mornstead, a land split between Axiom and its dark reflection, Umbral. The two realms constantly bleed into each other, filled with spirits, wraiths, and all kinds of nightmare fuel waiting to drag you into madness. Our new hero, the Dark Crusader, can travel between these worlds using the ancient Umbral lantern. It's not just a gimmick. It's literally your bridge between life and death. And the mission? Take down the demon god Adir. No small task there. Developed once again by Hexworks, Lords of the Fallen 2 is set for release in 2026, and it's already shaping up to be a dark, ambitious journey for anyone who loves that heavy, punishing Souls-like experience. That's a quick look for now. More on gameplay and updates soon, but Lords of the Fallen 2 definitely looks like one to watch.
Thou shalt not kill.
So the priests tell us. So the Lord commands.
Chronicles Medieval, the new sandbox RPG that's basically Mount and Blade, Kingdom Come, and Assassin's Creed all smashing goblets together. It's being made by Raw Power Games, a brand new studio. But don't be fooled. The team's stacked with over 100 veterans who worked on The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Assassin's Creed. Yeah, they're swinging big right out of the gate. The setting? Year 1313 AD. No Renaissance flair, no fancy forks, just muddy boots, brutal politics, and medieval chaos. You'll get everything from tense one-on-one duels to massive open-field battles to castle sieges where you're either storming the walls or desperately holding them. On top of that, you can create your own character, lead armies, build castles, and make decisions that actually shape the world. And it's all running on Unreal Engine 5, so expect shiny armor, gritty mud, and battlefields that feel alive. Plus, horses that hopefully don't handle like shopping carts. The game's hitting early access on PC via Steam in 2026, with console versions rolling out later, so if you're on PlayStation or Xbox, sorry, you'll have to wait while the PC crowd gets medieval first. Bottom line, Chronicles Medieval looks like the kind of game where you start as a nobody and end up rewriting history. Or, die horribly trying. Either way, it's shaping up to be one to stay tuned. Buckle up, because this next one is huge. We're talking Atomic Heart 2. Yup, the sequel is real, and we're heading straight back into that bizarre, retro-futurist Soviet fever dream set in an alternate 1950s, a world where the USSR mastered cybernetic implants and invented a miracle substance called polymer. But before we jump into the sequel, quick refresher on the first game. We followed Major Sergei Nechayev, codename P3, sent to investigate a meltdown at Facility 3826, only to discover that the robots had staged a full-blown uprising. With the help of his AI glove buddy Charles, P3 took on killer automatons, freaky mutants, weird science, and even stranger secrets. As the story unraveled, we learned that his longtime mentor and boss, Dr. Dmitry Sechenov, the creator of Polymer, was behind it all. And let's not forget the iconic showdown with the ballerina twins, left and right. By the end, players got two possible outcomes. In the canon bad ending, P3 kills Sechenov after taking down the twins, only to discover Charles had been manipulating him the entire time. In the good ending, P3 walks away and a mysterious black polymer consumes Sechenov's body, leaving everyone confused. Now, fast forward to Atomic Heart 2. This sequel picks up from that twisted cliffhanger and cranks everything up to 11. We're leaving Facility 3826 behind and exploring the wider world, new regions, new threats, new characters, and yes, even more of those unforgettable robot waifus. The retro-futurist Soviet nightmare dream is back, bigger and weirder than ever, with more room for roleplay and world immersion. Developed once again by Munfish, Atomic Heart 2 is officially slated for release in 2026 on PC and consoles. So if you loved the chaos, the style, and the absolute insanity of the first game, you're gonna want to keep your polymer levels topped up, because this sequel is aiming to blow the doors off. Marvel's Wolverine is shaping up to be one of Insomniac Games' boldest moves yet. After crushing it with the Spider-Man series, they're now diving into something darker and bloodier, bringing Logan the Wolverine to life in his own standalone story. This isn't connected to Spider-Man's adventures, but it's set in the same universe. And Insomniac says it's a full, self-contained narrative with a clear beginning, middle, and end. The story follows Logan as he hunts for answers buried deep in his violent past. And the trailer gives us that raw taste of what's coming. Fast, brutal third-person combat, pure chaos, and Wolverine absolutely tearing through enemies with those adamantium claws. The tone's darker than anything Insomniac's done before, showing Logan's killer instincts and his insane healing ability in full display. Liam McIntyre, the Australian actor known from Spartacus, is voicing and playing Wolverine, which honestly feels like a perfect match. We've also seen teases of classic faces like Omega Red, Mystique, who might be ally or enemy, plus the Reavers and mutant hunting Sentinels. Now, the game did face a setback after a massive cyber attack in 2023, when hackers leaked early builds and story info after Insomniac refused to pay their ransom. The community rallied behind the studio, calling it disgraceful but showing huge support. Still, Insomniac's powering through, and Marvel's Wolverine is set to launch on PlayStation 5 in fall 2026. No PC version at release, but it's likely later.
What you doing up there?
I'm just fixing some leaks.
Seriously, dude, you got some time on your hands. I got some properties with paying tenants.
Oh, that's why you came by?
Just go get me my checks.
See you, Brian. Love you, Jason.
Alright, Grand Theft Auto 6, the wait is finally over. Rockstar's most anticipated game ever is coming, and it looks absolutely wild. We're heading straight into Lionita, a fictional state inspired by Florida, full of neon nights, swampy chaos, and, of course, Vice City. Yeah, the land of beaches, gators, and pure madness. This time, we've got two new leads, Jason Duval and Lucia Caminos, a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde duo. Jason's an ex-army guy who tried to escape the world of crooks and hustlers, only to get dragged right back into it. Lucia? She's a fighter, literally trained by her father, who did time in Lionita Penitentiary for protecting her family. Fresh out, she's ready to take charge of her own life. Smart, fearless, and done playing nice. Rockstar's been cooking this thing since 2014, and after Red Dead Redemption 2, they went all in. Rumors say the budget could hit $2 billion. Yeah, billion with a B, making it the most expensive video game ever made. But with a massive open world, advanced tech, and Rockstar's signature satire of influencer culture, body cams, and those Florida man moments, it's shaping up to be their biggest masterpiece yet. And yep, it's official. GTA 6 drops on May 26, 2026. So mark your calendar, call in sick, and get ready to lose weeks of your life in Vice City's chaos all over again. If you're hyped for this one, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment on who you'll ride with, Jason or Lucia. Thanks for watching, and remember, in Leonida, the sun's hot, the money's dirty, and trouble is always around the corner.